This video is all about getting paid for what you do on a film set. They don't really teach you this part in film school, and I've met a lot of people that are really confused about this when they're starting out. So this video is all about invoicing, mileage, and some rules to know before you get on set. That is in regards to your money. So the first rule I'm going to talk about is in regards to the hours you work. Usually you work 12 hours for a day rate, and within that day rate you get a lunch break 6 hours in. Now that lunch break is usually 30 minutes long, and it starts from the last person that's in line to eat, and otherwise it'll be about an hour long, and it starts right when they call lunch, and it doesn't matter who's in line, who's the last person to eat. Just because it's an hour-long lunch, they expect you to have eaten by then. But usually they're about 30 minutes, and with that 30 minutes, that is not included in your 12-hour day. So usually if you're working a 12-hour day, you're actually there for 12 hours and 30 minutes. So for example, if lunch is called at 1, but the last person doesn't actually go through the line until 1:15, then your lunch is over at 1:45. This is really common on most sets, but if you're working on a non-union set or even like a student set, they may not keep up with this exact rule, but usually that's kind of what's expected and the standard. There's something called portal to portal. So if you're required to start at 6:30 a.m., but you're not actually reporting with the rest of the crew, you're actually getting maybe coffee at Starbucks right beforehand, your time starts when you get to that Starbucks. So that's the portal that you started at, and whenever you wrap up and you're completely done for the day, that's the last portal that you're keeping on your time card. This is just something for you to not be overworked and underpaid. This is really important for actors, but also for crew members. If you're prepping something, picking something up, if you're getting ice, coffee, or at the end of the night you have to wash something, clean something, at home or something else, you're still getting paid for whenever you started and whenever you end, just to make sure that you're not getting overworked. So this is really important if you're doing a time card, because if the rest of the crew was wrapped at 7 p.m., but it's actually your job to go unload some equipment at the equipment rental place and you didn't finish until 8 p.m., you're gonna keep that 8 p.m. as your wrap time. So now moving on to petty cash. Petty cash is something that they give you, or a PA, or anybody that's going on a run to get something to pay for whatever it is that you're getting. Usually it's cash, or they'll give you a P card, a production card, a credit card to pay whatever it is you're doing. If you're getting cash, you gotta make sure that you get the exact change and an itemized receipt. This is super, super important for accounting purposes, and if you don't do it, they can really get pissed off at you. If they didn't give you money, but you're expected to go pick something up real quick, do the same thing. Keep the itemized receipt so then you can get reimbursed for that. You never wanna spend money on a production that's your own money, so you always have to make sure you get those itemized receipts to get reimbursed for everything that you spent on it personally. So there's probably a few more common rules, but that's kind of where I'm gonna keep it now, and moving on to time cards and invoicing. So usually you either do a time card on a set that you sign at the end of the production or the end of the work week, or you'll send in an invoice. If you're doing time cards, make sure to keep a note of every one of your call times, every one of your lunch breaks, and getting in from a meal, and then your wrap times. They fluctuate usually every single day, so you just kind of keep a note or a memo written down so you remember when it's time to do your time card. If you're doing invoicing, that's pretty much always important too, but this is something that you'll have to email in or hand in after the shoot has wrapped. There's a lot of invoicing templates online that you can download, or you can kind of create your own. The most important thing to have on there is your information, your mailing address, your rate, and the hours that you worked. Now the last thing I'm gonna talk about in this video is mileage. If you're driving your own vehicle and doing runs, picking up stuff, dropping off stuff, it's really important to keep track of your mileage so you can get reimbursed for that later. Some production companies have their own mileage report they want you to use, or you can download another mileage invoice from the internet. Just make sure that it's the most current mileage rate. I think right now for 2019 it's 58 cents per mile. So just make sure you have your mileage rate, where you were driving from, where you drove to, how many miles it was in between those two destinations on your mileage invoice. Just another note on portal to portal, this doesn't mean that you record driving from your house to set. Portal to portal again is where you were expected to report and the last place you were expected to report. So you only count your miles once you're on the clock. So you're not on the clock driving to the set, even though the set might be a little bit farther than you wanted to. You can't really consider that unless it's outside of the TMZ zone. And that's a little bit more specific. I'll probably talk about that in a different video. But just remember, portal to portal, unless you're outside of the TMZ zone. So if you're getting coffee and then you're driving to set, you can record that mileage, but not if you're just going from your house to set. A great way to keep track of your mileage is through an app. I use Mile IQ. It tracks everywhere that you drive, and you can categorize personal drives and business drives, and it tells you the mileage everywhere that you were. It uses GPS, so it's really, really cool. I'll link the link in the description. Another way you can kind of track your mileage is by just looking at Google Maps and putting in the destination that you were from to where you went and seeing, okay, that says 7 miles. You just have to remember or write down all the places that you went to for when you do your mileage invoice, you don't forget. Also, if you're just like, technology, screw it, you can just take a picture of your odometer and keep track of the changes every time you were driving to different places. So it's up to you, it's up to what you want, but I'll have that Mile IQ link in the description. So I know that was a whole lot of information. This video is probably a little too long, but I hope you found some of this useful. Let me know if you have any questions, and don't forget to like and subscribe.